Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Zelensky, the president of the Ukrainian people, came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before. In the past 2 days, I think it was covered intensively by some media outlets. He came out and said that the war in Ukraine enters a new phase. Now, the new phase, I think, coincides with the Ukrainians not being able to hold off the Russian advance, but that's my assessment of what's going on over there. On the other hand, what I think is going to happen, the Ukrainians not being able to shell the Russians with 155 millimeter cannons and maybe other ammunition that they don't have, because it seems like the Western countries cut the spending. They, I think, switch towards drones. The drones obviously are something that are much cheaper than sending over there, I don't know, howitzers or tanks or Marders, armored vehicles or airplanes. A drone, let's say, maybe $20,000, $20,000, $30,000, $10,000, and that can blow up a tank, which is a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment. Therefore, not blow it up, but take it out of commission, destroy whatever necessary for the tank to function properly. So that means dead. So $10,000 or $20,000 garbage destroying another garbage over, I know, a few $1,000,000. So now what's going on? The Ukrainians, which I think they are in the last phase of being able to keep the Russians from advancing, switched into a massive drone attack on Crimean Peninsula. According to the Russians, they launched a large-scale attack, about 41 drones on the Crimean Peninsula. The Kerch Bridge was closed. We don't know yet if it was damaged or not. We're going to find out later. So let's start with this article. I have 3 of them already and a map. Ukrainska Pravda. Russians claim large-scale attack by 41 Ukrainian drones overnight. This is December 5th, 2023. The Russians claimed on the morning of 5 December, today, that they had intercepted and destroyed over 40 drones purported to be Ukrainian. Air defense systems destroyed 22 Ukrainian UAVs and intercepted another 13 over the waters of the Sea of Azov and the territory of Crimea. So let's see where that is. Let's use the map provided by the Russians, sent special for me. These guys are going to arrest me if I keep saying something like this. So here is the Crimean Peninsula. This is the Sea of Azov. So the Ukrainians probably send their drones around like this. And let's see. So this is just so you know geographically where it is located. And I'm quoting, "An attempt by the Kiev regime to conduct a terrorist attack using aircraft-type UAV against targets in Russia was prevented on 5th December 2023 at around 6 a.m. Moscow town." Now, why is it a terrorist attack? If they attack military infrastructure, that's not a terrorist attack. Now, if they attack something else, yeah, you can call it that way. The Russian Defense Ministry later announced that their air defense systems allegedly destroyed 4 more Ukrainian UAVs and intercepted 2 over the Sea of Azov. So, Crimean Peninsula and the Sea of Azov, where they were going, coming from behind or... All right, let's go to the next article. Coming from the New Voice of Ukraine. Crimean bridge closed after series of early morning explosions through occupied Crimea. Beautiful piece of engineering right there. Built in a record time. Yeah, well, beautiful. When was the last time the greatest country in the world to build a bridge like this? I don't remember. At least 9 explosions were heard in the Artsintseve and Voikove area of Kerch, areas of Kerch. The Kerch is where the Kerch Bridge is, right here. This is where Kerch Bridge, this is the area on the eastern part of the Crimean Peninsula, where I said these guys are going to try to blow this up, and they will succeed. I suspect they will succeed with a Storm Shadow or Scalp or Neptune or something of that kind. Not with drones. I don't think the drones will do the job. Explosions were heard. Okay, heard in Feodosia in occupied Crimea around 4 a.m., followed by gunfire from something large caliber. A Panzer 51 anti-aircraft missile system at the oil depot in Feodosia was fired, the channel later revealed. Let's see where that Feodosia is, if we can identify it. I can remember exactly where it was. Feodosia right here. This is Feodosia, and this beautiful, whatever this is, lagoon, or beautiful cove, harbor. Traffic on the Crimean bridge was halted due to explosions, the Crimean Bridge Operational Information Telegram channel reported. 35 Ukrainian drones were used in the attack, with Russian air defense destroying 22 and intercepting another 13 in Crimea, and Azov Sea, the Russian defense minister said. So that's 1, 2, and let's go to the third one, coming from Business Insider. Basically the same thing. Ukraine launched a barrage of attack drones at Crimea overnight. A beautiful construction. Russia says Ukraine sent a wave of 41 drones. Okay, we got that. So I think the Ukrainians will switch into launching drones, easy, cheaper, and could pose a psychological threat to the Russian, and not necessarily a psychological threat, but if you destroy a ammunition depot with one drone and you hit it straight where you're supposed to, then you cause a lot of damage, and but you don't win a war with drones, I think. Why? Because they're small compared with a missile. So it's true that 5 small drones could be equaling the explosive capability of a missile or so, or even more drones. Drones are much cheaper, obviously, for faster to build, cheaper, and that could pose an advantage if they're over the, as I said, something more expensive. And the damage is over there, but it adds, Eventually, if you punch, but not that strong, if you punch someone, you're going to cause a bruise. You don't have to punch 1 time strong. You have to punch 50 times lightly, and still the bruise will be over there. So here, the same. I think the Ukrainians could either switch into this kind of attacks, or this is the last spasm, before. We'll find out. I have a lot of articles that I went over, and I think the trend painted by the Western mass media, not by the Russian, by the Western mass media and the Ukrainians, we have this. Zaluzny is a loser. This is what these guys are portraying to us, and I don't think he's a loser. They probably going to indict him for treason or something, and for incompetence. That's going to be the word, incompetence, because they tried to attach him to the early Russian successes in the south by Odessa, the Mykolaiv area, and that they tried to stick him to that one. Then they tried to stick him with failed counteroffensive. Supposedly he didn't follow the intelligent NATO orders. I mean, you got, what's his name? Lloyd Austin and Milley. Those guys are preparing the counteroffensive. And now they try to change it onto the Ukrainian. I mean, the Ukrainian never gave me an impression that he's an idiot or anything like this. Whereas the other two, Lloyd and Milley, they never gave me the impression they're smart. So it's the opposite. So then it's the Marinka. I have articles on Marinka, Kupiansk, and Avdiivka. Again, the front is the Russians are advancing. Then you have the failed counteroffensive. Then you have lack of support, supposedly military support from the West. Stoltenberg came out, the NATO Secretary General, not just Secretary General, his general, came out and said, well, expect some bad news. A lot of people say this is already done. Poroshenko, the former president of Ukraine, tried to get in touch with, what he said, countries who are critical of Ukraine, which he tried to meet Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, and his people did not allow him. I don't know why exactly. Is he free to go over there? Is he a spy? Try to flee the country? So that's another thing that I'm going to cover later. So that's all kind of signs, including Israel, that must be supported, and Ukraine now. You know, it's on the 5th place or 100th place on US's list, and so on. There's a lot of signs that Ukrainians are not successful in anything, unless you consider holding the Russians to a steady step, to a certain, keep them away. That's if that's a success. Other than that, I don't know. We'll see. Things could be. The Russians are, as they said, still open for negotiations, but with the 4 goals in mind, which are non-negotiable. That's what they said. And the Ukrainians still have that little law that they cannot negotiate legally with the regime in Moscow. Attack, successful, not successful, with drones, change of tactics, new phase, the new phase. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.